All right, this is Mrs. Naslin, and today we're doing Unit 5, Lesson 10, Solve Multi-Step Word Problems. Our learning target today is, I can solve multi-step word problems. All right, first I'm going to talk about some strategies overall for word problems. We like to use the cubes method when solving word problems. And the idea behind the cubes method is that for C, we circle any numbers that we see in the word problem. U, we underline the question that the problem is asking. B, we box any of the key words that will help us figure out the problem. E, we evaluate and draw pictures to help us solve it. And S, we solve and check our problem. Okay? Something else that can help you with word problems is understanding the key words in word problems that relate to the problems that you're solving. So, ones that we're going to see a lot of today are words that represent adding. So add, sum, total, all together, plus, in all. When you see these words in a word problem, it means that it's asking you to add. Without just saying add, sometimes it does say add, but oftentimes it'll say all together, how many do they have? Some subtraction keywords, subtract, remain, difference, less than, fewer, how many more, and minus. This one seems to come up a lot. How many more? When we multiply, we oftentimes see multiply, product, times, it's twice as big, find the total or multiplied by. And in divide, we see words like divide, quotient, goes into, split, equally, and each. So you can refer to this page to help you solve word problems. I'll stick this in our Schoology folder so you can solve them. I'll stick both of the cubes method and this one into the Schoology folder so you can use it to help you solve problems as you come across them. All right, so one thing we talk about when we look at word problems is looking for hidden questions. So let's go ahead and first read this using the cubes method, and then we will go ahead and look for some of those hidden questions. So it says, Mrs. Norton bought 2 packages of white cheese and 8 slices with 8 slices in each. She bought 3 packages of yellow cheese with 16 slices in each. How many more slices of yellow cheese than white cheese did she buy? So again, the first thing that we do is we circle the numbers that we see. All right, so she has 2 packages of white cheese, and there's 8 slices in each, and then she bought 3 packages of yellow cheese with 16 slices each. All right, and then I underline the question, how many more slices of yellow cheese is there than white cheese? Or how many more slices did she buy? All right. And then I box any key words. Now, remember those key words we were talking about anymore? I see one right here. It says, how many more? If I flip back over to my keyword page here, there it is. How many more? It wants me to subtract. Eventually, in the problem, I have to subtract. All right? So now that I have all the key things circled and underlined and boxed, I'm going to go ahead and evaluate this question. So, what do I need to find? Well, I need to find how many more slices of yellow cheese than white cheese did she buy, right? That's what we're trying to find. How many more slices of yellow cheese than white cheese did she buy? So the hidden questions are information that you need to find in order to figure it out. So one thing I need to find is I need to figure out how many pieces of white cheese she has, because she has 2 packages that each have 8 slices. I need to find out how many pieces of white cheese she has. And I also need to figure out how many pieces of yellow cheese she has. All right, so those are the 2 things that I need to figure out. How many slices of yellow cheese does she have? And how many slices of white cheese does she have? All right. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and try to solve these hidden questions, right? So first, I need to figure out how many of those pieces of white cheese does she have. So I'm going to have to do my 2 times 18, which I know that one in my head. 2 times 18 is 16. Okay, so she has 16 slices of white cheese, and now I have to figure out how many slices of yellow cheese she has. So I'm going to have to do 16 times 3. All right, 16 times 3. All right, here we go. And when I do 6 times 3, I get 18. My 8 here, and I carry my 1. And then I do 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So I get 48 slices of yellow cheese. All right. And then remember, we said how many more, which we know is subtracting. So I'm going to have to subtract those two numbers. 48 minus 16. I subtract those, and I end up with 2 here, and I end up with 3 here. So I have 32 more slices of yellow cheese. Okay? So again, those hidden questions are things that are in there you have to solve, but it doesn't tell you you have to solve it. You just have to figure out that you need to solve those to solve the question. Okay? All right, so let's practice this with another question here, and then we'll have you do a couple on your own. So it says, Mrs. Orts has 200 pink index cards. She has 3 packs of blue index cards with 75 cards in each pack. How many more blue index cards does she have? So again, remember, our first thing we want to do is we're going to circle all of the numbers. So we have 200 pink index cards. Okay. She has 3 packs of blue index cards with 75 cards in each. Okay. Then I need to underline the question. How many more blue index cards does she have? How many more blue index cards does she have? All right, so I see that key word again. Let's go back. It says, how many more? So what am I going to have to do in the end? I'm going to have to subtract. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and box that. How many more? Because that's some key information I know I'm going to eventually have to subtract. And then we've got to figure out what our hidden question is. We know that we have 200 pink index cards, but we only know that we have 3 packs of blue, and each of those packs have 75 cards. So my hidden question is, how many blue index cards do I have? So to solve that, I'm going to multiply 75 times 3. All right. And 3 times 5 is 15. So put the 5 here. Carry my 1, or sorry, regroup my 1. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 1 is 22. So I have 225 blue index cards, and I want to find out how many more blue does she have than pink. So remember, we found out that how many more means I'm going to have to subtract those pink index cards. And I subtract 200 from this number, I'm going to end up with 25. She has 25 more blue index cards than pink index cards. Okay, we'll check. There we go. We're good. All right. So let's go ahead and work on solving this one on your own. So let's read the question first. I'll help you underline and highlight or underline and circle and box all the important information, and then I'm going to have you go ahead and try to solve it. It says Mrs. Washington has 5 cartons of black printer ink. She has 4 cartons of color printer ink. Each carton contains 48 cartridges of ink. How many ink cartridges are there in all? All right, so first I'm going to circle my keywords. There's 5 cartons of black printer ink. There's 4 cartons of color printer ink, and each carton has 48. All right, cartridges of ink. My question says, how many ink cartridges are there in all? Okay, and now let's go ahead and box some key information. Okay, I see a couple things here. Let's go back. I see that it says how many are there in all, right? So in this case, I'm going to have to add. It says how many are there in all. So I know ultimately I'm going to have to add. And another keyword is it says that each carton contains 48. I always think of each as also one of those multiplying words. So I'm going to use that. Each of these cartons has 40, or each of the cartons have 48 cartridges of ink. So you get to multiply. You're going to have to multiply 48 times 4 and 48 times 5. And then you're going to have to figure out how many there are in all, which we learned was adding. So go ahead and see if you can solve that one on your own, and then we'll come back and do this one together. All right. So first thing we need to do is multiply. We're going to do 4 times 5, which gives us 20. Right? Got that one down pretty quick. Oh, that's not right. What we want to do, not 4 times 5, we want to times each of these by each other. So we want to do 4 times 48, because we know we have 4 cartons. There's 48 things of ink, and we also want to do 48 times 5. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do 48 times 5 here. 48 times 5. So 8 times 5 gives us 40. Carry the 4. 4 times 5 gives us 20, plus 4 is 24, so we have 240. All right, and then we're going to do 48 times 4. Okay, and 8 times 4 gives us 32, so we're going to put the 2 here, put the 3 up here. And 4 times 4 gives us 16, 17, 18, 19, so 192. And we're not quite done yet because they wanted it in all, so we're going to add 192 onto our 240. So we get 2, and we get 13. Carry our 1. So we get 432 ink cartridges in all. All right. So today we talked about the different steps we can use to solve word problems. We also talked about keywords to solving word problems. We figured out how to figure out the hidden question. And then we went ahead and practiced solving some word problems on our own. So let's go ahead and you can keep practicing with your remembering and homework page.